Quarter-acre block, the three-bedroom home, the backyard. These are things that many Australians have aspired to over the past 40 years. However, since Donald Horne wrote his influential book, The Lucky Country, in 1964, things have changed. Although the book may have taken a rather critical look at Australia, it did draw attention to the fact that many Australians could reasonably expect to own their own home on a block of land. Up until the early 1990s, this took 5 years of average income to achieve. However, at the National Affordable Housing Forum, held in July 2006, it recently concluded that in the past decade, average house prices relative to income had almost doubled. This change is obviously applying serious financial pressures on families and individuals. It's also forcing many people to accept apartment living, rather than owning a home on a block of land. For some, this may be acceptable, but for others, it is definitely not the desired alternative. So what's been driving this tremendous increase in property prices? Well, it seems that the land component and its scarcity has a lot to do with it, now that Sydney has broken the 4 million population mark, and Melbourne is not far behind. In years gone by, state governments handled this increase by releasing more land in the outlying areas of Sydney and Melbourne. But with urban consolidation being the accepted approach for more than a decade, land releases have been few and far between. Urban consolidation's primary objective is to reduce the spread of cities and increase the density of populated areas to encourage public transport usage, amongst other things. Many planners, environmentalists and business interests are in favour of this approach, but one group in particular is at odds with the generally accepted beliefs of urban consolidation. They claim that urban consolidation is just not working and will never work. This being the case, I thought I should investigate what this group, aptly named Save Our Suburbs, was on about. Were they a bunch of NIMBYs or not-in-my-backyarders who refused to face up to reality, or did they have a valid point to make? To find out, I visited Save Our Suburbs President, Dr. Tony Reesy, at his home in Sydney's northern suburbs. Hi Tony, thanks for letting me drop by today.
Hi Ted, please take a seat.
Thanks very much. Well, tell me, Tony, why do you think urban consolidation is the wrong way to go in Australian cities? Lots of prominent people think it's the way of the future.
Ted, we live in a wonderful country. We have sun, we have sea and we have space. To many we are the envy of the world. But there are forces doing their utmost to destroy our unique Australian way of life. There's what I call the ram, cram and jam brigade in power, who want us to live packed together on top of one another, like chooks in battery cages. The state government here in New South Wales tells us that high density is for the overall community benefit. It says we must all have our share of high density. The government claims that if we all live in high density, transport will be improved, we'll save money and save the environment. But the proof is all around us here in Sydney and other cities to show that their gospel is false, that the benefits they claim do not happen, and that the consequences of their misguided policies are only now becoming evident. Higher density does not improve the urban situation.
That sounds pretty dramatic, Tony. What evidence do you have that urban consolidation is not working?
Well, as I mentioned, Ted, the proof is all around us here in Sydney. So why don't we take a look at the 5 major fallacies of urban consolidation?